Hello, let's do the New York Times Medium Sudoku for May 31st, 2024. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle yourself using the same Sudoku pad software I do, which does support additional notation systems that I utilize. So I would recommend checking that out if you want to follow along, rather than using the built-in New York Times software, which only supports one notation style. All right, additionally, I am going to be following a systematic method. I spent over an hour on a video recently explaining step by step exactly how the systematic method works and how a lot of the techniques work. So I would recommend checking out that video if you haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to be spending an hour on solves anymore for the medium, and instead just going to be pointing to that video. So do watch that if you would like. If you are watching this and you would like more context to what I'm doing. And so yeah, with all that said, I'm going to get started right now. Okay, so we don't have any repeated digits in this top band. This 4 doesn't have any repeats. The 2, 3 doesn't have any repeats. So I think at this point we just skip this top band and we just move on to the next one here. All right, nothing in this bottom row is interesting, but let's start with the 2, 7. So the 2 does have a repeat over here. These two 2s look in, placing this 2. Now we have something in the bottom row. We also have the 7. These two 7s look in. Puts a 7 somewhere down here. And then we also need to look at the 1 and the 9, but there is no repeat for the 1, 9. No filled box rows. No rows or boxes down to 4 or fewer. Let's move on. So we have the 7, 8, no repeats. The 1, 4, no repeats. No filled box rows. Yeah, interesting. Skipping 2 bands entirely is pretty new, but maybe the stacks will have more to say. So the 2s are done. We also have the 3s that are done. We have 7, 8, no repeats there. Wow, yeah, there's not much to see here either. Okay, yeah, let's just move on to the next band then. We have 2 7s. That's the only repeat here. Okay, maybe the last band will save us. So we've got the 1 and the 4. So we do have these 2 1s looking up. That does place this 1. I don't think we can follow up horizontally with that 1. But let's keep looking vertically here. So we have the 1 and the 4. The 2 has no buddy. 1 and 9. Okay, so the 9 does have a buddy. But I'm putting 9 and one of these 2 down here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to, because this is a filled box column, we want to look at these digits here, see if any of them aren't yet placed in the box. 9 and 1 are, the 4 is not. So the 4 looks up, this 4 looks in, and that places the 4 here. Now we can follow up in the band by corner marking 4s down here. And then we can also follow up in the stack, putting a 4 in one of these 2. All right, now this box is down to 3 open cells, which are the, we know one of them's a 3, and I see this 3 looking in, so we can place the 3. And then this is going to be a pair at worst, 2 and 7. Yeah, it does look like a 2-7 pair to me. So now we got this 3, let's follow up on that. That puts a 3 up here. And also, according to this row, the 2 and 7 are placed, right? The row doesn't care how the 2, 7 resolve. This is a naked pair. So 2 and 7 are removed from the rest of the row. So this cannot be 7, first of all. But also this 2 now has a buddy somewhere over here. This 2 looks up, putting a 2 down here somewhere. Did we get anything else from 7s? Not really. All right, so that 2, 7. Did we get the 4? We got the 4, the 1. I'm just double checking that I didn't miss anything in the band. All right, we also got this 3 and this 4. We take care of all of these vertically. It looks like we did. Okay. This column here is down to 4. So we need the 2, 6, 7, 8. 2, 6, 7, 8. So this cell is only 2, 6, 7. 2, 6, 7. This is any of 2, 6, 7, 8. This can't be 2, so this is 6, 7, 8. Not super helpful. Okay. So now I think we are going to have to go box by box and find things. So let's just start up here. So when we have, I think recognizing kind of formations of givens is very helpful. So this formation here, you're gonna see a lot, like this formation, this formation, this formation, right? Basically the way I would describe this one is a formation in which there's an entire empty row and column. but there's only a single empty row and a single empty column. So what we want to do is look at the rest of that row and column and see if we can find any repeat digits that aren't already placed in the box. So 237, look over here for 237, but the 3 is the only repeat, and unfortunately we already have the 3 in the box. So nothing to find there. What we were looking for was restricting a digit, or even better, 2 digits to these 2 cells, but we did not find that. So I don't think there's anything geometrically to find here. This 4 really doesn't have anything going for it. It's a single digit. We kind of skipped that. But what we can do is pay attention to our corner marks and at least make sure that we've resolved everything to do with those, like the 2's pointing, the 2's claiming, the 3's pointing, the 3's claiming, that sort of thing, where make sure we haven't penciled in any like a 2 or 3 or 7 in these 3 cells. Also thinking about just what the cells that aren't corner marked can be helpful. So for example, this cell here, it does see 2-7 in its column. Unfortunately, this 2-7 matches, right? So it's seeing 2-7 for 3-4-8. I don't think that's enough to really action on. But I am seeing actually that this row has 4 remaining, which I didn't notice when we did this 2-7. But we can think about what these 4 digits are as well. So we need the 1, 5, 6, and 9. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do anything. That's probably why I didn't pay attention to it. Because they can all be 1, 5, 6, 9, except this one. This can't be 5. Okay, so 1, 6, 9. But yeah, that's all I'm seeing. So, all right, so nothing to do with that box. This box we already know everything about. We're not going to find much with that. So we move on to this box. So this formation here, notice it's avoiding this column. So the first thing I want to do is see if there's anything in this column looking in that would be helpful. So we have the 2, 3, 5. So the 5 looking in does let us mark 5s in one of these two. Unfortunately, we don't get a second digit. It will be this digit. This is not something I'd expect you to use in the medium, but this is something that you could potentially use. And it is indicative that we might be able to find something else. Yeah, we can find something else. Okay. But I want to talk about this because this is interesting. Maybe just a teachable moment, even if you don't use it. So I was looking here, right? I wanted to find a digit that wasn't already placed in this box, right? And I found the 5. And look what the 5 did. It restricted 5 to 2 cells only. I was like, oh, it would be really nice to find a second digit that was restricted, that was not already in this box, that would restrict with the 5 and create a hidden pair with the 5. Like, it's like, oh, if only this was like a 1 or a 6 or a 9. And then I realized, hey, no matter what this is, if it's a 1, here, let's do it. If this is a 1, the 1 looks in and it puts a 1 in one of these two. In fact, the 1 resolves. If it's a 6, the 6 looks in, putting a 6 in one of these two. And if it's a 9, the 9 looks in, putting a 9 in one of these two. So we don't know what this ends up being, but we know it ends up here. So our green cell here, whatever digit it ends up being, that digit joins the 5 down here, creating a hidden pair. And so we could technically put 1, 5, 6, 9 here. And really the key is that, okay, what does that mean these 3 cells are? Because they aren't the green. But really, I think another thing that this is indicative of is we should be looking at how these affect the column externally. And you can see we have 2, 3, 7, 8. The column already has a 2 and a 3, but the column does need 7 and 8. And what we want to do is we want to ask, where do 7 and 8 go? And it turns out this green cell, because it's a digit that isn't already in the box, it can't be 7, 8, right? This cell cannot be 7, 8. We have the 2, 7 pair with the 8. And so 7 and 8 can't go in any of these cells. And so 7, 8 end up here. So we end up finding a hidden 7, 8 pair. And even better, this 8 tells us the order. So really what we're doing is we're finding a hidden single 8 in this column. This can't be 8 because of that 8. These aren't 8. This isn't 8. This isn't 8 because of that 8. And this 8 takes it out of the whole rest of the box. And so we can place the 8, which does displace a 4, but there's still 2 4s left. And then this 7, now there's a hidden single 7 in the column. The 7 goes there. And so by finding this, where I was scanning for putting into here, I found this cell. And that made me think, oh, let's think the other way around and find the 7 and the 8 instead. So that's very handy. This 7 does remove 7 from this cell here. We also have a buddy 7. So we end up with a 7 in one of these 2 cells. This is filled now, so we want to search. We're just following up on the 7. I'll also follow up on the 8 in a second, which I think does some things too. But first of all, let's follow up on the 7 vertically. We get 2 7s here. And then also this is filled. It filled the box row. So we can look at all these digits. these are empty. 2, 3, and 7 are already placed. 8 is not. And actually, that would just be the buddy for this 8 as well. But it does place 8 in this box. Now we have 2 8s here that we follow up on. This 8 looks down. That places the 8, which displaced a 9 corner mark, placing our 9. This medium's been pretty intricate. I wouldn't be surprised if it's harder than the hard today. All right, so we have the 8 and the 9 here. We want to follow up on those, but we already have, okay, the 8 we can follow up on. Placing the 8 here. That did displace a 7 corner mark, but there's still 2 places for 7, so we can't place it. But this 8 can follow up further and place this 8. And this 8 can follow up further, placing this 8. And now we have all the 8s placed. And that restricts 3, but not enough to place it. So we don't really have to follow up on this 8 in terms of 8s, because 8s are done. We have all the 8s done in the grid, which is very nice. Now we want to think about how it might have affected the band or the stack anyway. So for example, this column is down to 4 digits. So this column is down to 1, 4, 6, 9. So we know the 4 ends up in here somewhere. Otherwise, I guess this can't be 1. This can't be 9. So this is 1, 4, 6. This is 4, 6, 9. For what it's worth. This box we also reduced to 4 open cells. We need the 1, 4, 6, 9. I think that's the same digits we just said. So this is 4, 6, 9. This is 1, 6, 9. These can't be 9, so these are 1, 4, 6. But importantly, because these can't be 9, this 9 looking in does tell us that the 9 ends up in one of these 2 cells, which is going to point. We do anything with the pointing 9. Not at the moment, but we do want to pay attention to that. Yeah, there's nothing to mark with that right now, though. Okay. That was a lot. Let's think about what we got out of that. Is there anything else to follow up on, or do we go back to scanning boxes? We might go back to scanning boxes. We got this 8. Okay. Yeah, okay. We might have to come back around, but I'm going to continue, and I'm going to look at this box now. So 1 empty row, 1 empty column. Always good to just double check that there's nothing in this row that helps, unfortunately, right? So the only thing that would help is if we had 3 digits restricting to here in this column. We do have the 4, but it's not nearly enough. But it is actually. So yeah, there's some nasty spots in this puzzle. I don't know if maybe some of them can be avoided, like you don't have to actually spot them. But this 4 looking in here is telling us that we have a hidden single 4 in this row. Kind of crazy. But the way that I spot that is I noticed that 4 in this box was restricted in such a way that it could not be in row 5. Because I was looking at how this 4 looks down into here and how these givens work. These givens are keeping 4 out of these cells, right? So row 5 doesn't have a 4 here. And then I looked and I glanced left and right. Left didn't help, but right, I saw that we had these corner mark 4s that also keep 4 out of row 5. And so where does 4 go in row 5 is really the question that I want to ask at that point. And the answer is because I have these corner marked 4s here, the 4 cannot go here. And that's because of claiming in this column, which if you notice, we actually have 4s lining up like this that did that. So the 4s lining up like this and the 4s lining up like this work together to restrict 4 out of all of these cells, meaning this is the only cell that can be 4. More importantly, we have said that the 4 in this column must be in this box, and the 4 in this row must be in this box. And so it has to be where they intersect because we can't put 2 4s. So we're going to place that 4 there. That is a hard spot. All right, this is 1, 6, 9. In general, we're down to 1, 5, 6, 9. This can't be a 1, so I'm going to put 5, 6, 9 in here. This can be any of 1, 5, 6, 9. Okay, so what does getting this 4 do for us? We want to really make sure we follow up on that, other than what I just marked up. Well, the rest of the row is 5, 6, 9, which I can mark up. And actually, we see this 6, 9 here, and also this 9 here, making this only 5, which is great because that places the 5 in this box. That means the 1 in this box is pointing. Notice this can't be 1, so the 1 in this box points up, removing 1 from here. Okay, and this is down to 6, 9. Nice. Okay, so we were looking at that was very fruitful. Going box by box as our second pass, there's a lot of things we can look for, and just whatever you find is going to be helpful usually. I don't think there's anything else to find here. But the 2, 7, 8 could also affect the row, but we already have the 2 and 8 placed, and we already have the 7 corner marked. So I'm going to move on to this box, and at this point I'm noticing that there's only 4 left in this box, so we're going to take care of that. We need... In fact, this column is down to 3. So let's think about that first, because I like to do the ones that are most restricted first. Same with this column. So we got some digits at somewhat recently, I'm not sure when, that restricted them, and I didn't follow up. But we'll do it now. So this column needs 2, 3, 7. So I'm seeing this can't be 2 or 7. So that places the 3 here. And this can't be 2, so this is 7 and 2. That places the 7 here, which places the 7 here. All right, this is down to 2 or 6. It can be either, but that does form a 2, 6 pair here, meaning that these have to be the other 2 digits for our box. They are the 3 and the 5. So this 5 tells us this is 3, this is 5. And then in here, 1, 2, 3, we need 4 and 6. All right, not resolved, but this whole stack is doing very well now. It's amazing what just finding a few things that are a little bit more subtle about boxes can help with the puzzle. I am noticing now we can follow up here. We got some digits here that we should follow up on. So for example, the 5s. Put the 5 up here. In general, this is 1, 4, 5, 6. This can't be 4, so this is 1, 5, 6. I think this could be any of them. Okay. And then, so I got the 5. How about the 3? Yeah, so the 3s we can follow up on, putting a 3 down here. We got the 5, the 7 are done, the 8 are done. Okay. I think that's good for following up with that. How about here? So we got, let's do it in numerical order. We got the 3. So the 3's down here. We got the 5. So the 5's up here. We got the 7. Those are done. 8s are done. We know the 8s are completely done. 9 does not have a buddy. Ooh, but that reminded me that we have these pointing 9s, which I said, we need to remember this. We don't have a good way to mark it. Well, this was the marking for it. It points up. It removes 9 from here because 9 has to be in one of these 2 cells in this box. If it is, no matter which one it's in, this one's not going to be a 9. That's called pointing. So this is 6, 1, and 9. That's a 9. That's a 6. So this is not a 1 anymore. That places 6 in this box, which places the 2 and the 6 here. We can clean up this box a little bit. We have a 1, 4, 9 triple, which means this can't be 4. That places the 4 here. This is a pair for the column. We need a 1 and something. 1 and 9, it looks like. We know the order. This is 1, this is 9. For these two, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5 and 7. This can't be 5. So that's the 7 and the 5. That resolves the 7 and the 2 in this box. And this row can be finished with a 9. Okay, these 2 9s are going to look down along with this 9. Putting a 9 somewhere up here. Trying to follow up best I can, but I honestly just doing the really restricted rows is gonna be better. We need 3 and 6 here, which is not resolved. And then here we need 1 and 5. Okay, also not resolved. Interesting. Will be soon. Here we need 4, 5, 6. I'll just fill that. Here we do need, let's think about it. We need 1, 3, 4, 6. So we know the 1 is also restricted in here. 1, 3, 4, 6. Okay, there's somewhere else that we need to find something. Maybe I will scan this vertical a bit more. We have these 2s looking in. That's actually very helpful. So 2 in this box can only be here. That displaced a 5 and a 9. That does place the 9. Doesn't place the 5 yet. That resolves this whole triple. So this whole stack is now done. This is now just a pair. 2 and 5, it looks like. No, not 2 and 5, sorry. 4 and 5. So this can't be 4. So this is 5, this is 4. That resolves our 6, 4, 5 here, resolving this entire box. Nice. Notice this can't be this can't be 3 and this can't be 1 anymore. Anyway, that's a 6. These 4s looking in, right? 4 in this box can only be here. That gives us the 3 and the 1. That's the 3. We're down to 1 and 6, and we're done. All right, some really interesting spots in this puzzle. Just to recap, this did end up being the 6 that joined the 5 over here. Do you remember that? This is what I had green. It ended up being a 6, and it ended up joining the 5 over here, right? So this was our green, and this was our 5. But we found the 7 and the 8 were hidden in this column. by focusing on, by first noticing this, which was interesting, but really just seeing this 3, 7, 8 and focusing on how that affects this column, where we needed a 7 and 8 in the column still, and this could not be 7 or 8. So that was really interesting. And then also how this row needed a 4 in this box, and this column needed a 4 in this box. And so that had to be where they intersect, so it could be to be in both that row and column and box. So yeah, it's like double claiming. Really neat stuff. I enjoyed this puzzle. This could have easily qualified as a hard in my mind. I'm not sure how they classify medium versus hard. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, then why not leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.